some more readings, actually, because tonight you get two for the price of one. But hang in there, because they're both pretty good readings. The first one is some really good practical advice going into this season. Actually, this would have been pretty good before Black Friday, but it's probably even better coming up to the Christmas season. You'll find out why I'm saying that in a second. So I'm just going to get right on with it. Why am I late? This came from a business meeting, for which I don't apologize for the business meeting. I'm not sure I apologize for being late, but anyway, I am late, and there it is, and that's the reason. Cheryl Richardson has written a book called The Art of Extreme Self-Care. Transform your life 1 month at a time. She's written a whole bunch more stuff. If you want to know more about her, just go to Amazon. She has a bunch of books there. Google her, Cheryl, C-H-R-Y-L, Richardson, like it sounds. And she said, this is a little bit extreme. Well, it's called extreme self-care. So if you want to live an authentic, meaningful life, you need to master the art of disappointing and upsetting others, hurting feelings, and living with the reality that some people just won't like you. It may not be easy, but it's essential if you want your life to reflect your deepest desires, values, and needs. Maybe that's a little bit over the edge for me, but the bottom line is, you could summarize it by saying, don't be a people pleaser. Ernest Holmes puts it another way in The Power of an Idea. He says, the mind must get a degree of conviction of peace greater than the appearance of confusion, broader than the confusion, and rest in that conviction of the peace. That is The Power of an Idea, page 55, paragraph 3. Right, let's get on with it. I think this is a great reading for the time of the year, or really any time, you know. This holiday season, I focus on self-care, says our writer, Reverend Chris. Many of us find it all too easy to let this most wonderful time of the year, quote unquote, become a stressful marathon of trying to please everyone, attend every event, and push ourselves to the limit while pretending to be nothing but joyful. Whether or not you celebrate the holidays, you undoubtedly share in the common struggle to balance expectations, obligations, and self-care. He goes on to say, I choose a different approach. I allow myself to feel and express a full range of emotions. I give myself space to grieve for those who aren't with us, to rest rather than overcommit, to prioritize spending quality time with loved ones over chasing material concerns. I aim to move through the season and this season and every season with intention and care, rather than rushing from one obligation to the next. I invite you to join me in this shift. Let's transform our mentality from one of rigid expectations and obligations to one of gentleness, love, and self-care. Be focusing on what truly matters and allowing ourselves, by focusing, on what truly matters and allowing ourselves to be present with our feelings, we can create more meaningful, authentic, and fulfilling experiences, no matter what the time of the year. You know, when we start our careers, and this applies to a lot of us, not all of us, but a lot of us. When we start our careers, especially one where we're kind of looking to move up the corporate ladder, as it were, or even when we just get jobs which have got high expectations of us or great demands of us, we often focus on those jobs instead of on our families. Now, don't get me wrong. If you're in a job, you should focus on it to a certain extent, but it shouldn't be, and you shouldn't be required to do that to the exclusion of your family. Your family is very important. One good reason for getting out of corporate America, well, one reason was all the BS, all the bureaucracy. the hypocrisy, and the other one was not being at everyone's beck and call. Well, not everyone's, not being at the firms, the companies' beck and call. For instance, one time I had to make a business trip to Saudi Arabia. I didn't know this. My boss called me and he said, "Oh, we need you to go around to Saudi Arabia for a month." And I said, "When?" He said, "Tomorrow." And I said, "No, I'll go, but not tomorrow. I need a bit of time to prepare. My wife needs a bit of time to prepare." No, I need a few days. So I got a few days. I stuck up for myself, you know? So it's things like that that really get in the way of balance in our lives. I've been out of balance work-wise often. Sometimes I still am a bit, but I do try to balance myself. This book, Extreme Self-Care, I'm seriously thinking of buying it for Reverend Lisa. Why? Because every day, I'm sure, and wherever I listen to her, I know she's promoting at the end of her talk self-care, and it's really important. And it isn't being selfish, because as we've said, if you take care of yourself, you build a base from which you can take care of others. If you don't build that and you just dive in, take care of others to the exclusion of yourself, eventually you will collapse. In fact, lots and lots of caregivers succumb before the people for whom they're caring. And that's, as far as I know, a fact. I didn't Google the numbers, but I'm sure it's pretty fact. Okay, so she gives us a good affirmation. I honor my need for rest, and I choose intention, care, and gentleness over endless obligations. This is one I need. I honor my need for rest and choose intention, care, and gentleness over endless obligations. All right. That's Reverend Chris. I promised I would read from Murphy's Dogma, and it's a good one. It's a good one. It's called A Prayer for You. Remember, all right, there's a guy called Reverend Dr. Bob Looking. He writes a column, it's every other month now, I think, called Murphy's Dogma, and it's supposed to be Murphy, the human whisperer. Murphy is supposed to be talking to us. Of course, it's Reverend Bob who's talking to us. We know that, but he tries to look at it from a dog's perspective and give us advice as you would see it. But this one is really it's just good. It's Murphy's Dogma, pause with perspective. How about that? It's kind of cool. It's called A Prayer for You. I pray conflicts and struggles leave your life as quietly and easily as dark clouds on a stormy summer day, that thousands of petals from love's most perfect flowers fall before each step, and that you find comfort on your journey. I pray the essence and beauty of all the love songs in the world fill your ears, your heart, and your mind with joy. And I pray that the wisdom of your soul continues to give you the power and courage to live a life that's rich and full. I pray you grasp the depth of love that is felt for you. I pray you always know you are love. I pray your smiles lead to laughter. I pray you allow yourself to fly with eagles. I pray you find your still small voice and sing the songs of sparrows. I pray you always know that you're not alone. I pray that when you look into my eyes, that's the eyes of the dog, and you know what dog's eyes and cat's eyes look like, you see how much I care for you. I pray some part of you knows that we will always be together. And it's particularly poignant for me because we lost our dog, Lily, last Wednesday. Unfortunately, she was 13, 14 years old, and her kidneys had given out, and she was in a lot of pain. And it ends by saying, we're never alone in this life. When we pause to listen, the tender message from the divine leads our hearts to answers. And I think that's pretty cool. And I am feeling very cheerful. And there's a book that you can get on Amazon called The Diary of a Mindful Dog. if you're interested in that, the Diary of a Mindful Dog. And with that, I'm just going to wish you, I'm not going to say take care, it's already been said. I'm simply going to say, oh, Reverend Lisa will be on at 9:30 tomorrow. I'll be back hopefully tomorrow at 5. Until then, namaste.